We're going to show you some very interesting and profitable franchises today, but keep in mind that the best franchise for you isn't going to be the same best franchise for me or for anybody else. Everyone has a different situation. Your budget, your skills, your operational preferences, your local demographic, your market demand, all of these things are unique to you. And if you really want to maximize your earnings potential, you're going to have to align the right franchise to your own particular circumstances. So we're going to keep it simple today. We'll throw out a few options for different scenarios, different types of people. But make note, if you go to the About Us page on our website at franchise.city, you're going to see most of us are or were franchise owners. Some of us are retired now, but look and see, not one of us bought the same franchise. And that should tell you something about there being no single best franchise for everyone, and realize that you're going to have to do some research to maximize your success. Let's look at some franchise. So let's say you're a blue-collar worker, but you're well-spoken, you're articulate, you're comfortable managing employees, and you want to start your own business. Now, there's tons of what we call service-based franchises that are very low investment, particularly compared to food franchises, and some of them have amazing returns. So many white-collar executives also invest in these service-type businesses as the returns are good, and a lot of them are looking for executive business building skills. So in most cases, you're not swinging a paintbrush, you're not swinging a mop, you're not performing the core competency of this business, you're running the business in an executive capacity. So here's some examples: plumbing, insulation, disaster recovery. Now there's a franchise in that space with an investment of around $100,000 that has a location doing $1.5 million a year in net profit, money in the pocket. Okay? Now you need to be in the right location, you need to have the right skills, but if you pick the right franchise in the right environment, you can be very profitable. Flooring is another service-based example. Thriving industry right now. Investment, again, under $100,000. Financing, by the way, is available for most franchises, typically about 30% down. And the average in one system in flooring, this is the average, not even their top producer, is $212,000 in net profit. And most owners are seeing ROI, return on their initial investment, in 90 days. Now, service businesses like this are low overhead, and in most cases, you do not need the technical experience as you're hiring or managing crews, either of employees or contractors, to actually perform the work. Now, these types of businesses, at least at first anyway, are not ideal for passive or semi-passive ownership, if that's what you're looking for. Most of them, not all of them, but most, they want hands-on owners. Now we're going to look at passive or semi-passive options in a moment, some franchises that are a better fit if that's what you're looking for. So let's say you're a corporate sales executive. You're looking to start your own business, don't really know where to start, and franchising sounds good. So again, there are dozens of options, and including some of those service-based businesses that we just noted above that have sales as their primary driver. So to give you an example, owners might go into customers' homes or businesses and provide the estimates, right? So some examples: construction or residential cleaning. Owner goes in, they do the estimates. That's a type of sales. So good cleaning franchises, a lot of people don't think of cleaning when they think of owning a business. They can easily average over $1 million a year, and it's a very simple business model. Some of them are making much more than that. Now, if you prefer to do pure sales, right? You don't want to have the infrastructure of employees. You want to be sort of a one-person army. A consulting type of franchise, again, very low startup and low overhead, around $60,000 to get you started. And some owners in these systems do well over $1 million a year in revenue. We recently saw one of these owners sell their business for $1.7 million. Now, your overhead in these situations, it's your phone and your car. So most of those earnings are pure profit, unlike in a restaurant type of situation where you have very high overhead and a lot of employees. Now, we're not going to go into great detail in this one, but a master franchise can also be a great option if you're a sales pro, as you're actually selling unit franchises. You're selling individual franchises. Now, one cleaning master franchise has top owners at almost $7 million a year. Many multimillionaires today, they actually got started by buying the master franchise rights early on in an emerging brand that became very successful. Another thriving industry right now, just due to the demographics, is caring for seniors. Now, again, the owner does not need nursing or any caregiving experience, as they're going to be hiring those roles. But you should have, in these cases, executive or relationship building experience. There's a lot of relational interaction in a senior care business. Now, choosing the right senior care franchise, and there's a whole lot of them with different business model, that can be a bit complicated, as you've got medical, non-medical care, placement revenue, national accounts, longer and shorter care services. And each of these may or may not be the best fit for your local market. And again, just give us a call. We can help you through that here at Franchise City. Now, most senior caregiving brands, they do tend to take a bit longer to reach your return on investment. So be prepared for that. Make sure you're sufficiently capitalized. But most easily generate over $1 million a year profit. And the most profitable franchise that I have ever seen was in the senior care industry, with incredible $53 million generated in a single year. That was actually last year. Now, the investment for these types of franchise, for that particular one, is around $150,000. So the sales to investment ratio is absolutely off the scale. Now, to put that in context, in perspective for you, McDonald's, they're a pretty profitable franchise. Their top location, though, did under $10 million last year. That's about 20% of what this senior care brand accomplished. And at McDonald's, as you may or may not know, that's going to set you back well over $1.5 million to own a location. Now, do keep in mind that you have to qualify for these top brands. You can't just walk in and drop down money like you can with the lousy franchises that they're going to take anybody, let's face it. The key here is to find the most profitable franchise that is best aligned to your market and your skills, and that you will qualify for based on your background. Now, you might not believe it, but most people buy a franchise for reasons because, wow, these are great cookies. I should own a franchise. And also remember, those same franchises that have multi-million-dollar owners, most of them also have owners who failed. They went bankrupt. So you can't just look at the top revenue number and say, hey, I'm going to make that, because chances are you won't. You need to look at the bottom number, the top number, and find out why both of those operators ended up where they did. Again, a little bit of research can help you make a lot more money. Now, let's say you're someone who's not quite ready to leave your job, but you'd like to own and operate a business. Now, there are what we call semi-passive operational franchises that will permit you to keep your job, and you can dedicate anywhere from around 5 to 20 hours a week on the business. And those requirements vary depending on the franchise. Now, many franchises can eventually become semi-passive after you build the business up, but most of them do want an active owner, at least in the beginning stages. But certain industries are ideal for semi-passive, even out of the gate when you're just starting. And thousands of people, and their backgrounds range from first responders, executives, blue collar, white collar. They started off with a semi-passive business, one single location. They expanded, they opened more locations, and eventually, when the businesses were profitable, they left their job. And that gives you a little bit of a safety net. So these type of semi-passive businesses are ideal if you have an existing business or a job that you're not comfortable leaving just yet. Now, there is a trade-off, as most of these semi-passive franchises are not huge money makers compared to active ownership. But you got to keep in mind you're dedicating only a few hours a week, so it's similar to a traditional investment. Now, good options for semi-passive, and again, not will permit this, and not even if they do permit them, all are good options. But beauty concepts, for example, that includes salons, investment from around $200,000, SBA financing is often available with government guarantees around 30% down. There are some therapy or massage type franchises that can be remotely operated in a semi-passive, some of them even in a completely passive capacity. Med spas, medical spas, if you have a higher budget, if you're in the right upscale demographic, they can be absentee owner run, and margins in these are very good. Fitness concepts. Many of these post-pandemic are making a huge comeback. Some of the traditional gyms we're finding are a little bit stretched in most markets, but boutique locations that offer niche services like yoga or martial arts, they have lower overhead, not a whole lot of equipment, and they can be very profitable. Again, it's going to depend on your market. Investment for those is around $200,000 and up, and net ROI for some of these concepts around $200,000 annually. Automotive, that can also be a good niche. Oil change shops, they can be very profitable. One aftermarket parts franchise has top 50% of their operators netting net profit of $400,000 a year with an investment that's around $300,000. Now that revenue is actually more than double the average of some of the big box garages, yet people are still going out and investing in those. Why? Because they didn't know. Where you do not want to go to buy a franchise is one of those industry top lists. They are not to be trusted. The ones that claim such and such a brand is number one for whatever reason. We exposed those a while back. I'll put the link above. Veteran lists, also very dangerous. Avoid them as well. I'll put that link down below. Now, where you do want to go is the experts at Franchise City will help you find the most profitable franchise. I'll put that link down here to learn more. Thanks for watching.